Primetime football, our expectations for you were already low, but holy heck, it's getting bad. Lots of bad news surrounding the NFL,
So bad.
but we got a Sunday slate to take care of, and we got money to make. The Underdog Fantasy Board is packed, and we're about to make some money. This is the Player Profiler Pick and Power Hour, starting now. Welcome back to the Player Profiler Pick and Power Hour. We're your hosts, Ahaan, Rungta, and Trevor Tipton. We are your sad hosts a little bit today because Thursday Night Football. I mean, Trevor, you were on the Mark Andrews receptions, as were a lot of people. It looked like he was about to cash that in the first quarter, maybe. And as we all know, his season is done. There's nothing we can do about injuries. And then later on in the game, Joe Burrow is now done for the season. And this tweet I made last night basically summarizes this was supposed to be the best primetime game of the year, no doubt. And instead we got that. Maybe some malpractice going on in Cincinnati. I don't know.
I mean, people don't want to say it. So I don't believe, I'm not on the NFL's fixed train. I've said it before, right? It's an $18 billion business. And if I don't know Underdog's numbers, but I'm going to talk about sports betting for a second. I haven't seen October's numbers yet. They come out right about now. September's numbers, the top 10 states, this isn't even all the states, just the top 10 for legal gambling in the U.S. handled over $10 billion. All right. They're not blowing that. That being said, it was amazing that Prime instantly had pictures of Joe Burrow's hand. And if you look at it on the video, you could see it's massively swollen. But they had it and they knew about it, and the Bengals didn't report it. The NFL is trying to play both sides. They might not want to hear it. That being said, this product is a quarter as popular if it is not for sports betting, fantasy sports, and games like Underdogs, best ball, pick'ems, all the products they offer. Football is not nearly as popular as it is. And personally, I think some other sports are dead without it. So people get upset because there's real money involved. And like I said, these companies are handed billions of dollars a month. And man, I personally blame Trent for Mark Andrews. For those of you who don't know, I love Trent. I think Trent's a great dude. He's a great entertainer. But, man, that dude can mush anything. And the second I saw him go to Mark Andrews, I literally, text some friends, and I said I'm cooked. If I could cash out, I'd cash out.
Yeah, Trent is my boy, and if some of my viewers or some of our viewers are coming from my Twitter because of the Book It Sports community. So shout out to them if you're watching, and shout out to Trent. Great dude, but it's hilarious until someone gets hurt. And then it's no longer funny. But we've got some money to make because we're on a little bit of a streak. Last week it was with I got a little cute, but it worked with a Jake Ferguson lower. And the thing about people wanting voids, people wanting refunds on every single thing if anything goes wrong early in the game is here's an idea. Here's something that you wouldn't complain about. If you had a lower pick and they got hurt in the first quarter, should that also be refunded? I can go down this whole rabbit hole of what should be refunded and what not. But there's, especially in the NFL, there's there's a lot of advantages to not being allergic to lowers. And I know we've got a few on the slate today, at least one, and at least one similar to the Jake Ferguson look. So I'm super ready to get into this Week 11 slate. There's some interesting matchups, some blowout potential, which is always there in the NFL, even if the spread is close. But I really like our picks today, and we've loaded the Underdog pick generator on the DFS Dominator. If you have that, it's $85 for the full package where you can get help with DFS lineups for fantasy football. But as part of that, we have the Underdog pick generator where you can get early leads for Sunday with projections on the Underdog fantasy board. And oftentimes, most of these don't close at the same projections that we post them. In fact, one of the picks we have is on a receiver, the over on receiving yards. That's moved 2 yards since we uploaded it an hour ago, right? So you want to get in on these leads early. But live on the show, we're going to lock in some picks. Shout out to Tyler, friend of the program. You tell me what to hit, and I'll put all my life savings on it. We're putting a half unit on each of our entries, and you're going to stay disciplined with your bankroll because it's the NFL. We just saw it. You're not going to blow your bankroll. But shout out to Tyler. It's a great segue into for Thursday Night Football and Monday Night Football. Player Profiler has shows called The Tailgates right before the scheduled programming on TV. You can head over to the Player Profiler YouTube, Facebook streaming, and check out the tailgates. And Tyler is a big part of our tailgates. He hosts that. He hosts a lot of those tailgates. So shout out to Tyler, and go check out those tailgates for prime time. But Sunday slate time. Let's get right into it. Trevor, where are you headed?
So I just refreshed to make sure. I want to start off with, I'm really sad that we don't have any Miami options right now. And I would be all over Miami's stuff if we can get them. If you're in Player Profiler's Discord, I will have something cooked up with Miami. We know Ahaan's coming back. It's why everything's not available right now. So stay tuned. That would definitely be one of my plays. But we're going to start with what Ahaan led me off with. So the New York Giants have sneakily been really good against tight ends this season. As you saw last week, what they did to Jake Ferguson. And we're going with Logan Thomas, lower 3.5 receptions this week. The guys, you're going to tell me, hey, he's gone, how many games in a row now? 4 games in a row, gone higher. He's gone 5 out of 6. He's gone higher. This is just a different situation here. I know Gibson's out, but all of their receivers are healthy. The Giants are going to get after Hal, right? The most sacked quarterback in the league. One of the stats that just really impressed me with this is the Giants have only given up 35 receptions all season to tight ends. That is third best in the NFL, and they're the only team in the top 10 that's played 10 games. All the other teams that are in that lower reception number have only played 9 games this season. So this is a spot I don't think Thomas is going to see there. And at the same time, I don't trust the Giants defense enough on yards with him to go there. So if you look at his, receiving yards, it's at his higher lowers at 35.5. I prefer the receptions here. I think it's a solid play. We saw last week, Ahaan went with Ferguson. So we're going to go back to that well. And I think the Giants actually kind of make this a competitive game. The spread is massive, and it's because of DeVito. But I think the Giants make this a game. It's a division rival. Listen, these guys, while they're frustrated, they don't like losing. They're professional athletes. I think they're going to show up, and I think this game is going to be a lot closer than people give it credit for.
Yeah, I like it. And the thing is, you see the spicy pick, which Underdog has introduced. You mentioned Trent, so I'm thinking of Prize Picks.
Yeah.
So that's why we don't talk about Trent when we're trying to make money. But
fair.
You mentioned on Underdog, we have the spicy pick here with Logan Thomas with the high. You can get a 1.7 times higher boost on a touchdown. And Logan Thomas is the kind of player who could score a touchdown, and that'd be his only reception of the game. The Giants are not allowing a lot through the air recently at all. Just part of that just because you can run all over them. And we all know Ron Rivera loves to run the football. So I see so many routes in which this Logan Thomas lower can hit. So I really like that route.
And he's even using Brian Robinson out of the backfield. I'm actually excited for Robinson this week now a little bit with no Gibson, but we don't have any options for Robinson. I'd probably be on some of his hires if he was there, but we're sticking with our Thomas lower. And then we're going to go to what I think is going to be a weird game. But I think their number 2 wide receiver, who's a running back, is going to get peppered this game. And that is Austin Ekeler of the Los Angeles Chargers. So we know Mike Wills done. Josh Palmer's out right now. And Keenan took that injury last week, right? We don't know how healthy he's really going to be. And this is a spot there, when game script calls for it, as bad as Staley's been, he will load Ekeler up. You've heard us say all season, when I'm going hires, I also, especially for yards, I want a guy that can break it in one play. We all know Austin Ekeler has one play breakaway ability. He has, for running backs, one of the highest yards after catch per reception rates in the league. It's 12.59, and he has almost 300 yards a yak this season, right? He's catching the ball out of the backfield. He's breaking it. He's going. And Green Bay has sneakily not been great against running backs out of the backfield. They've given up the 7th most receptions to running backs this year. They're allowing 6.2 yards per route. And Ekeler in the last 3 games has had 8 targets, 7 targets, 7 targets. So that's what I want. We want volume here. When we're going higher, if you're building your own pick'ems, if you're going higher, we're trying to target volume. And so in this situation, he actually had his receptions were up there, and they pulled them off. So I had to pivot over to yards because I think he's going to get a bunch of reception as well. I like him equally, but in this spot versus Green Bay, in a game that is really important to the Chargers, they're 3.5 point favorites. It's a 44.5 total. But this game matters for the Chargers to have any kind of thought whatsoever that they could sneak into the playoffs. They got to win out. And it starts with Green Bay and trying to get after Jordan Love and putting some points on the board.
I like it. This is a healthy looking entry. One lower, one higher. Keep it simple. Nothing too complicated. Get in, get out. 2 picks. I like it. Happy unit on this for you. And did something move?
And we're locking it in before it does because I don't trust
it.
It's in. Okay. It's in. And Ahaan went quiet again. So I'm going to talk for a sec why we can't hear Ahaan. We're back.
We're back. Okay. Yeah, mic issues, but it's a bonus show. Anyway, so I going back to this Chargers game. Chargers, Packers. Spoiler alert, I have something from this game. We're gonna hear about my entry in just a second. Let's hear a word from whatever we have, whatever promo we're running. There we go. Let's hear a word before we get into my entry
today.
All right, I want to take a moment today to talk to you about data analysis. The data analysis tool, we listen to the users. What do you want? What do you need? And we made it happen. We added popular reports like a fantasy scoring report, air yards report. And if you want to create a new report, but you don't necessarily want to look through every field, we have quick results. Hey, show me the most popular passing data. Show me the most popular rushing data, fantasy data. Done. And the thing just is much faster than it's ever been. And the report builder got a lot easier. I mean, check this out. We break it down into offense, defense. Show me just fantasy data elements. And then when you get results, hey, show me by draft year. Let's take a look at just certain players that played a certain number of snaps or a certain number of games last year. This is the tool that so many of you have been asking for, plus a bunch of dream features that Billy wanted and Cody wanted and I wanted and Dario wanted. So go to the fantasy tools section, click on data analysis, or go to playerprofiler.com/data-analysis.
We're back on the Player Profiler Pick and Power Hour, the bonus show on Friday, where I'm just so smooth today. Just a perfect transition going into this ad we had. But we're back. Trevor just locked in his 2-piece for Sunday. Logan Thomas lower than 3.5 receptions. Austin Ekeler higher than 33.5 receiving yards. Now I do have something in this game, but I'm going to make you wait for that. And go with for my entry. Start with a situation that both of us are very familiar with. We both love. And in this spot, we talked about this before the show. Trevor, the Rachaad White and the Bucs are facing your team, and we're on the same page on this. I do not understand this projection. I will take it and run. Rachaad White, higher than 26.5 receiving yards. Last year, Baker Mayfield ranked number 1 in the NFL among all quarterbacks in checkdown rate, right? And he's been a perennial checkdown guy his entire career. It's not a coincidence that, again, the Rachaad White role has been high, has been up there receiving. And it's one of the reasons Rachaad White was one of my guys for fantasy this year, because the PPR points are just going to be through the roof no matter what, because his role has been steady. On the season, he's hit this in 5 out of 9 games. He's hit this in 3 out of 5 losses. That makes sense. And when you're behind, you got to pass the ball. He's hit this in 3 out of 4 when he runs at least 60% of the routes. I don't see how all of that's not going to be the case, because the 49ers, they're favored by 11.5 points, rightfully so. This is arguably, I mean, when Brock Purdy is healthy, probably the best team in football. They're favored by a lot. I think Tampa Bay is going to have to pass a lot from the get-go. Should be a pass-heavy script. And San Francisco ranks number 7 in pass rush win rate, number 15 in pressure rate. Unit that's going to, keep getting better as the season goes on, especially after the trade for Chase Young. And it makes sense that they've allowed the 10th most targets per game and the 9th most receptions per game to running backs. If you look at on the sports books, the receptions line for Rachaad White, it's up to 4.5 now. Like, you're seeing there are wide receiver 2s in this league that don't have reception lines that high. So they've adjusted on the receptions, but given the role, he can have 4 receptions and still get to 27 receiving yards. He could push on this 4 receptions as well. I'm going to take the 26.5 receiving yards because he's been efficient as a receiver. It's really weird how inefficient he's been as a runner and how efficient he has been when he is running the routes. I'll gladly take the receiving yards in this spot. And on some sportsbooks, you can start to see it get juiced up to the minus 130 area. So I think this doesn't close at 26.5. You might see this close at like 29.5. So I'll take what I think is going to be some closing line value on the receiving yards.
Yeah, I love this spot. You described it perfectly, right? We're going to get after Baker. The 49ers are coming. Our D-line's all healthy. You got Hargrave and Armstead, he's not running through them. And now you got us just rotating all our DNs in and out. You saw Bosa look re-energized with Chase there. Baker's going to be running for his life. And the Niners are going to put up points. Purdy and Ayuk crush zone, and that is what Tampa Bay runs like at the 3rd highest rate in the league. So it's literally just what Purdy and Ayuk eat for lunch. So this is going to be a game where they have to play catch up. I mean, Rashad's hit this in 4 straight. I mean, he put 70 on Buffalo, and while Buffalo has struggled offensively, they have not defensively. Their defense is for real, and he was even able to put 70 receiving yards up on the Bills.
Great that we are on the same page, especially in a 49ers game. I'm going to get right into my second. Check that, my second, because I'm going and for the first time. Can you hear me?
Your mic's cutting in and out.
Are we back?
Now we're back.
We're back. Okay. I'm going.
Nope. So now we're back.
All right, we're going Mikeless rest of the way, and we're going to deal with it.
I know what I'm buying you for Christmas.
We're going to deal with adversity. It's what we do around here. Anyway, I'm going to a stack. In case it was not clear, I'm about to go to a stack. And before these lines change, before I have more mic issues, just get right into it. So, Trevor, you're going to be rooting for Austin Ekeler in this one. I'm going back to the same game, and I'm not going to say that we're going to root for, completely different outcomes in this game, because your pick can hit and my pick can hit. But it's safe to say I'm going with a different route in this one. So you look at this matchup against the Green Bay Packers. The Packers, they rank among the league's worst in terms of run defense. They have a bottom-tier run-stop win rate. They have bottom-tier rush DVOA. They can't stop the run. Quay Walker might be coming back, but still, it's probably not going to solve all their problems. Where their strength lies is in the secondary, especially when Jair Alexander plays. And he participated in practice on Thursday, so looks like he's going to play. And like you said, with the Packers, they need all the help they can to make a potential miracle playoff push here. So the way I'm attacking this game is I think that the Chargers, if they get out to an early lead, they might not need to pass much at all the rest of the game and just, grind it out with Austin Ekeler. Their pass catching room outside of Keenan Allen, we already know is compromised. Mike Williams is gone. Quentin Johnston is not good. He can't separate. They're trying to get him the ball more by, these short routes, but it's not an inspiring pass catching room. And it just Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen and that connection. And I'm fading that connection because the Packers, they rank top 10 in coverage rate. They rank above average in pass DVOA. I'm fading a number that's, by the way, already moved 3 yards since we put it in the underdog pick generator, but I still think it's worth taking. I'm taking the lower on Justin Herbert passing yards, and I'm scaring you again, just like I did with Jamar Chase last night. We're stacking it with Keenan Allen lower on receiving yards, because I just think the passing volume might not be there, and even if it is, Keenan Allen coming off a game where he got hurt mid-game last week after going off against the Lions in a shootout. He might not be 100% either. You take a look at the hit rates this season. Justin Herbert, he's gone lower on this line in 5 of his 9 games. Keenan Allen, he's gone lower on this line in 6 of his 9 games. You look at when this connection actually goes over, it was against the Titans, pass funnel defense, one of the worst passing defenses in the league. Against the Vikings, another not inspiring pass defense, kind of mediocre. And then last week in that shootout against the Lions, where they knew before they entered that building that they're going to have to pass it 150 million times, right? They knew they were going to have to pass that ball indoors. This is a road game in Green Bay. If the Chargers get out to an early lead, I don't think we see a very aggressive Chargers passing offense. So I'm taking the stack on this lower. This has proved to be a good strategy long-term. If you take the top receiver and the quarterback and you take their lowers, it is a 70% system in the NFL going back to around 2015. And I wrote about this in my Pick'em article this offseason. So I'm taking it. It's scary, but I'm taking it. We can't be allergic to lowers, and that's what I'm pairing with Rachaad White.
Yeah, it actually ties in with why I like Ekeler. I'm on this. Like, I think, as you brought up, Jair was at practice. I think they're gonna bracket and double cover Allen all day, because they're gonna be like, who's gonna beat us? We're worried about the Podfather's favorite, Quentin Johnston. So right, like, this actually totally ties in. I think they're gonna have to check the ball down a bunch to Ekeler, because of how good their pass defense is. So I actually like how it ties in a ton.
That's what we like to hear. So we got a stat going, Justin Herbert and Keenan Allen, but they're lower on passing yards and receiving yards, and we're tying it in with Rachaad White. Make this a standard payout entry for half a unit. You want the 5x payout, well, the 6x, but a 5x profit when we hit all 3 picks. And that's what I'm rolling with. We are going to be back next Wednesday, as usual, with the show for Thursday Night Football, and hopefully a better Thursday Night Football than the absolute riotous series of events we saw last night. And for now, let's just hope we go 5-0. Sound like a good plan, Trevor?
I like 5-0 this week.
We are so due. We've been cooking on this show, but we're due for 5-0. Hope everybody has a good weekend and wins every entry they place. See you.
Hey, I want to take a moment to thank you for tuning in. It's important to me that all of our media be free. This is only possible because of you allowing a true independent sports media enterprise to thrive unlike any other in the business. So please subscribe to the All In Package to continue to make all of this possible, to ensure that all of our stats, information, data, content is available to you, especially you, the people that get the site and get the show.